This is Emma, and this is Elsa. I adopted them back in October 2021 along with their other sister Ellie. We were originally looking to adopt one cat as company for our older cat Ralphie, but Emma wouldn't leave my husband John alone when we visited the shelter. We found out that Emma had two other sisters. They cuddled together, they were extremely close, they played together, even just at the little time we spent at the shelter. We didn't have the heart to separate them, so we brought home all three. All of them quickly made their way completely into our hearts. But this isn't the adoption story about Emma or her sister Elsa per se. It's about their battle and triumph in overcoming FIP. It is a story I share with you over a series of videos to educate you and to help you understand feline infectious peritonitis, or FIP. Throughout the next series of videos, I'll share with you how it presented in both of my cats, what treatments we tried, our experiences with the vet, and the end result. In early December 2021, just 2 months after Emma came home with us, we noticed something wasn't quite right with her back legs. She'd walk, and one or the other leg would give out and the back of her body would just sort of flop. We went to the vet, who initially wasn't quite sure what was going on. He ruled out pulled muscles and other normal kitten illnesses as Emma was still eating and otherwise acting normal, at least at first. He began treating her for toxoplasmosis, though he wasn't sure that that's what this was. I share that because FIP can look an awful lot like toxoplasmosis. The symptoms can be similar. Nearly 3 weeks after Emma's legs started splaying out in weird ways, the vet called. The diagnosis? The fatal disease, feline infectious peritonitis, or FIP for short. He told me to bring her back when it was time to let her go. The disease would progress quickly, he said, and he had reached the end of his ability to treat her. By this time, I was already so attached. Knowing that this sweet, precious, helpless kitten who never did anything wrong was going to die made me think that if it did happen, I would never smile again. It shattered my world and cast a dreary gray light over everything. FIP is caused by the feline coronavirus, or FCOV for short. Nearly 100% of all cats will get the feline coronavirus, but in 5 to 10% of all cases, a cat cannot defeat the feline coronavirus. It'll mutate inside the cat to cause FIP, 50% of all cases happening in cats under 2 years of age. But the disease can actually happen at any age. Right now, multi-cat situations, whether it's in a household, a shelter, or a cattery, are most at risk of contracting FCOV that could mutate into FIP. FIP is a pandemic right now among cats, still killing about 1% of the world's cat population in 2024. It's becoming more prevalent due to FCOV itself mutating, just as how human coronaviruses have. Humans cannot contract FCOV or FIP even though it is a type of coronavirus. Other cats in the household typically won't develop FIP either if another cat has it, because again, the viral mutation happens inside the cat's body. Sometimes vets can test for the presence of feline coronavirus, but that doesn't tell you if, in fact, the virus has mutated to FIP. Diagnosis is generally a process of elimination, at least right now. Our own vet had ruled out everything else when it came to first diagnosing Emma. Cats in stressful situations are also more vulnerable to developing FIP. In shelter situations, for example, where they are already stressed, they typically receive vaccinations and are spayed or neutered, often before 6 months of age. These are all contributing factors because they contribute to the cat's stress levels. Now, shelters do the best they can. Spaying and neutering is a good thing, as is vaccinating. But cats in shelters who get vaccines and spay-neuter surgeries while they're still kittens unfortunately increases the risk of the feline coronavirus mutating in a cat who's already susceptible. And if that doesn't do it, The stress of rehoming can, as is what happened with us. And just like with humans, stress can compromise immunity. In cats, this lowered immunity can facilitate the environmental conditions to allow FCOV to mutate into FIP. This terrible disease is fatal 95% of the time without treatment. FIP presents in two forms, wet and dry. The majority of cats seem to get the wet version or effusive FIP. This version presents as fluid building up in the body, often in the belly with sticky yellow fluid, or in the lungs where it can be very difficult for a cat to breathe. This happens because inflammation causes damaged blood vessels to leak fluid. The dry form, also known as non-effusive FIP, causes severe internal inflammation, leading to lesions that can form anywhere in or out of the body. These lesions can form on the brain, the eyes, the liver, the spinal cord, or even the skin. This presentation focuses on dry FIP, where all my experience with this terrible disease lies. Any cat with FIP will undergo the same treatment to cure the disease. Emma developed dry FIP with the subcategorization of ocular neuro. The virus crosses the blood-brain barrier in ocular neuro cases. When that happens, they can develop uveitis, which is inflammation of the part of the eye where the iris is. Lesions formed on Emma's eyes, leading to uveitis, and by the time we started treatment, her right eye was completely cloudy, meaning she had gone blind. Her left eye was starting to become cloudy as well. In dry FIP, neurological signs such as incontinence and loss of mobility can develop too. This is because those lesions and the inflammation now involve the central nervous system. They can form on the brain or in other parts of the central nervous system, such as the spinal cord. Lesions formed on Emma's spinal cord near her legs and tail. She'd lost bowel and bladder control as well as leg mobility. Because FIP can present in different ways, even siblings can show different symptoms and signs. Since the mutation of FCOV happens inside the cat's body, disease characteristics are unique to that cat. This is also why FIP can be difficult to diagnose. Later on, Elsa, Emma's sister, would develop FIP. She had no neuro symptoms, but a lot of inflammation and anemia, along with lethargy and inappetence. That was unlike Emma, who had plenty of energy at the start and still had a good appetite. Our vet basically told us that Emma perhaps had days to live because the disease progresses quickly and aggressively, regardless of whether it's wet or dry FIP. I couldn't accept her fate. Not knowing what to do, though, I tried all manner of homeopathic remedies. They barely seemed to help. She was declining fast. In the next video, I'll share about where to find treatment and what that entails.